Think of the impracticality of this. I'm famous. I'm in a plane. People are coming into the plane. And I'm looking at a woman and I grab her and I start kissing her and making out with her. What are the chances of that happening?
You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Yeah. On Friday, Donald Trump suggested no one could believe he would just start kissing a woman. Back in 2005, he admitted to doing exactly that while not knowing that his mic was on, speaking seriously to somebody. I'm glad Nikki Haley spoke out. We're about to play her comments about Trump and women. So hopefully,
sarcastic, I know.
yeah, hopefully she'll step up for women and say the right thing.
You know she won't.
Welcome back to Morning Joe. It's Monday, September 9th. Jonathan Lemire, Reverend Al Sharpton, and John Heilman are still with us. And joining the conversation, we have NBC News and MSNBC political analyst, former U.S. Senator Claire McCaskill is with us this morning.
You know, Mika, it's
lucky us.
It's interesting. Lucky us. Lucky Chiefs. You know, it is interesting. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, not lucky. I mean,
it was
let's just say they're very fortunate that the refs let their offensive line hold as much as they do in every single game. We'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about Donald Trump first, because it is really nonstop. At some point, the NFL is going to have to step in and tell the refs, you can't let the Chiefs' offensive linemen actually tackle Nick Bosa in the Super Bowl and everybody else in the games that follow. But anyway, you know, Mika,
yes.
we off the top, we were talking about all the outrageous things that Donald Trump is saying this weekend.
Right.
And, you know, I read a newsletter this morning. I've seen other things where they go, oh, this is what the liberals are saying.
Right.
This is what the left, and this goes to the whole false equivalency, the false moral equivalency, because everybody's so desperate to make this a normal presidential campaign instead of a campaign between somebody who wants to undermine American democracy and another candidate who doesn't. And so can I give you a couple of quotes?
Yes.
Because these
I wouldn't call them outrageous. I'd call them dangerous threats.
The left wing, because this newsletter this morning that I was reading said, oh, you know, there's one side, the Democrats talk about January the 6th and the riots and all this other stuff. And they're led by these left wingers, right? So here are the left wingers that have been concerned about this, just so you know. So when you're being lied to and there's this false moral equivalency, we know where people stand. Donald Trump's defense secretary, Mark Esper, called Donald Trump a threat to democracy. John Kelly, his longest serving chief of staff, said Donald Trump had nothing but contempt for our democratic institutions, the Constitution, and the rule of law. Even Bill Barr called Donald Trump a constant narcissist. Donald Trump's own vice president said, the American people deserve to know that President Trump asked me to put him over my oath to the Constitution of the United States. Anyone who puts himself over the Constitution should never be the President of the United States. His first Secretary of Defense, James Mad Dog Mattis. Donald Trump is the first president in my lifetime who does not try to unite the American people. He tries to divide the American people. His chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, retired General Mark Milley, said, we do not take an oath to a want-to-be dictator. We take an oath to the Constitution, and we take an oath to the idea that is America, and we're willing to die for it. Nikki Haley, who at one time, not now, but at one time, said, a terrible thing happened on January the 6th, and he called it a beautiful day. Chris Christie said he was just out for himself. His second national security advisor, H.R. McMaster, said we saw the absence of leadership and what that can do to our country. John Bolton, another national security advisor, said foreign leaders think he is a laughing fool. And I can go on and on. Anthony Scaramucci, a former communications director, he is the domestic terrorist of the 21st century. I mean, again, go on. Elaine Chao, quit after January the 6th. At a particular point of events, it's impossible for me to continue given my personal values and my my philosophy. So Claire McCaskill, we've been talking about, and I think we need to do this on the Monday before. We didn't plan to do this because the debate was on Wednesday. We need to do it because when you see Donald Trump going out all weekend,
it's tomorrow.
Going out all weekend, I'm really focused on it. Going out the Red Sox lost to the White Sox yesterday. How do you expect me to be? But anyway, you look at what Donald Trump is doing on the eve of the presidential debate, talking about violence, talking about bloody deportations. We're going to have deportations, and they're going to be bloody. Talking about the January 6th rioters as patriots and saying that he's going to get them out of jail. Mocking, once again, Nancy Pelosi's husband getting his head smashed in by somebody that was spouting Trump talking points. We could go down the list, but he is doing that right now. And this whole idea that we see in the media, oh, well, the left wing says this, the right wing says that. The false moral equivalencies, I think, are really laid low. But this is some left wing, right wing thing. When you see Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney, and all of these generals that work for Donald Trump saying the man is unfit to be president.
I am a little discouraged at how the mainstream media is covering the race like you are, Joe. Listen, what he said over the weekend deserves a headline this morning. It deserves a headline. It would get a headline if Kamala Harris said stuff like that.
That's for sure.
It would be a big headline. It would be a shocking development. But because we're used to him behaving like a jerk and, just a sick narcissist, it's almost like everybody, and I'm talking to the editors here and the headline writers. The editors and the headline writers need to, get a grip here and really have a gut check about whether or not they are writing this stuff, and particularly writing headlines in a way that is really reflecting what's going on. And I got to tell you, I got to point out what's going on in Venezuela. Most Americans don't understand how easily this could happen. Look what's going on in Venezuela. You had a guy run for president who lost by huge margins, won't release the results, and has now jailed 2,000 people who had the nerve to speak out for the election result that they voted for. And now the person who was on the ballot has fled the country. They got on a plane and went to Spain this weekend. This guy is going to hold on to power even though he lost the election by a landslide, by force, by violence, by jailing people. And I think there's too many people, especially the business leaders on Wall Street, that are being for this guy. Nikki Haley, she knows what can happen in countries when someone decides that the Constitution and rule of law doesn't apply to them. And I just think this is a really scary moment. And all you got to do is look and see what's going on in another country where there's a leader that has the same tendencies as Donald Trump, what's actually happening on the ground.